You can't label me a downer because ever since I saw it at last year's Gamescom, I've been dying to know a little bit more about We Happy Few. And now, there's finally gameplay. Joining me on stage here to talk about it is creative director Guillaume Provost. Guillaume, welcome.
Thank you.
Nice to see you. So let's talk about the game and what we showed at the briefing and just about the game in general.
Of course. Well, the game takes place in the 1960s. It's an alternate history universe.
Right.
It's a bit dark, it's a bit dystopian. We created a world where basically everyone is using these pills called joy to stay artificially happy in the world and to forget the past that they have.
Now you can see we're actually playing this right here. This is this is not a video. This is actual gameplay we're seeing, which is what we're playing here on the show floor at E3, correct?
That's exactly it. We're seeing the build that is live on Xbox on the game floor at E3.
Now talk about denial and social conformity. What are those and how do they come into play within the game?
Right, well, it was a big component of the game that we wanted to create a society that was really trying to forget their past and was really in denial about the conditions that they're living in. It's one of the big themes that's underlying the entire game that we've created. So they're wearing masks, for example, that are depicting them as being happy and smiling all the time, no matter how they're really feeling underneath the surface.
Now, one of the things about this game, it is using a procedural generated world. Now, for those at home that don't know what that is, explain it to the non-nerds of the world.
Yeah, of course. Well, really, we have narrative sections that really deepen, the structure of the story in the world.
Right.
But the main stay of the actual world that we're playing in We Happy Few is going to be different in terms of its layout, in terms of the moments and the features and the buildings that you'll encounter is actually different every time that you play. And we really wanted to create an experience that allowed players to discover the lore and history of the world piecemeal by actually replaying it through subsequent lives.
Now the community had a lot to do with that, right?
Absolutely.
And tell me how they got involved.
Well, it's been a year now, actually. A year ago at E3, we were in the middle of our Kickstarter campaign. We had a really successful Kickstarter campaign with the community. They've been huge supporters of the game. We've updated them with monthly builds on a closed beta for over a year now, and we're really excited to bring it to a wider community this summer.
Now that's what people are asking right now, because I can see my Twitter stream lighting up out of the corner of my eye. How do people get early access to the game?
You can. It was a real benefit to the early Kickstarter backers to get early access to the game until July 26th, which is when we are coming out on Games Preview for the first time on Xbox, and a Windows 10 SKU will follow shortly after that.
Now, we're actually playing the demo on screen, so what do we see here? Let's kind of walk it through while
we
it's being demoed.
We are seeing Arthur walking in his actual office right now, and he's coming off the joy at this stage, and he's starting to see reality for how it really is. So to come back to the aspect of denial, which is the strong theme element of the game, it's really the idea that these people are living in a life that's an artificial depiction of what's really going on.
So I can see this is the infamous pinata sequence where things go, they go a little bit dark, Guillaume, I must be honest with you.
Yeah, well, we wanted to really drive the point home. I mean, the idea of having a birthday party where we have a pinata that has lots of candy in it, and then realizing that actually underneath the hood, there's a very different reality that's awaiting the player once they see reality for what it really is and stop using joy.
Do we see this a lot within the game where when we're interacting with something, maybe it's not really what we seem?
There's a couple of instances where that happens in the game, yes. It's a preponderant theme within the game to understand exactly people's motivations and people's thinking is actually different than what they're actually influencing. You can also experience joy in the game and see differences both visual and in terms of gameplay. Yeah. But that comes with some consequences.
And what are some of the basic mechanics we can expect with the game?
Well, we have a number of different mechanics. We've actually completed
that little section.
That little section here. We have a number of different mechanics in the game that we tried to push forward to make it a different experience. One of them is social conformity. So it's the idea that as you progress from different areas within the world, there are different behaviors and different rules that you need to follow in order not to stand out from the crowd.
How has the reception been at E3? I mean, I was in the room when you showed it at the Xbox briefing. It's pretty electric in the room. How's it been online?
Well, I've got to say first that being on stage was, for me, the moment of my career. I don't think I've ever dreamt of anything, like being on stage at E3. In the room, it's been great. We've had press and fans come over and play the game over and over and over again. And the biggest testament to me is people who are willing to wait in line for, unfortunately, a long time sometimes, and they're not angry with me once they get to try the game. That's a testament to knowing that we're doing something right.
Well, that's good for you. Well, anyway, thank you very much. Good to see you again, Guillaume.